This video is going to be a look at the three main young talents that the Baltimore Ravens have that are currently making plays. Of course, it's difficult to make a positive spin after Sunday's 33-31 loss to the Browns, but I think when you're talking about Kyle Hamilton, Zay Flowers, and Keaton Mitchell, you've got guys that kind of go against the profile from a draft pick perspective. Clearly, the Ravens did not draft Keaton Mitchell. He was an undrafted free agent. It's paying off for them. Kyle Hamilton, too big and too slow to take, and that's why he slid to 14. That's what some people would say. We know as Ravens fans from watching the film and the first play of the game that I'm getting ready to show you, he's got tremendous burst and athleticism and range, and he's made plays the last 2 years. He's gotten significantly better from the first 3, 4, 5 weeks of his rookie year, especially when he's playing at the nickel. Zay Flowers, I thought at times on Sunday looked unguardable. Even though the Browns were playing heavy man, bringing pressure, even when they were bringing 4, they were able to generate pressure at times. But certainly when they were bringing 5 or 6, they had guys in Lamar's face quick. But Zay Flowers is available many times for the football. Lamar gets it to him, and Zay Flowers chewing up chunks of yards. I'm going to show you at least 4 of the plays that he made. And then Keaton Mitchell, the touchdown run that he had to put us up 14-0. Looking back on it now, it kind of seems like fool's gold. Things was just too easy at that point. The speed of these three guys, the athletic profile of Flowers and Mitchell, too small, quick guys. 20, 25 years ago, some of those guys would have been avoided in the draft. Well, Keaton Mitchell wasn't drafted now. Kyle Hamilton, the complaints are the opposite. And on some level, you could even throw Tyler Linderbaum in here from the standpoint that he's a small, quick offensive lineman, even though a center is obviously different than a tackle and a guard. But he's a small, quick offensive lineman that doesn't fit the profile of what teams are looking for. So my point in this video isn't to try to maintain a positive focus, because really it's very difficult to stay positive after that loss, but to point out that we've got 3 guys making plays right now that are against the grain draft picks that other people, for whatever reason, let fall a little further, and now it's paying off for the Ravens. So we'll start with Kyle Hamilton, first play of the game. He's at the nickel. And it's just a beautiful timing on his jump, and then to be able to, I'm not a huge fan of him walking across the goal line, but, you know, he's first pick 6 of his career. I'm sure he didn't plan to react that way, but it was probably, hopefully, going to be one of many. Little snag flat concept, and Njoku out in the flats. I felt like we had trouble covering him to the boundary. Generally, this is to the field, which is why Hamilton, the nickel, is to that side. Soft hands create stuff like this. Tipping the ball to yourself. I mean, you do drills like that, and you tell kids that it's going to work out in that way, and it rarely does. But in the case of Kyle Hamilton, he's a rare talent. We're lucky that he fell to us. We would love to have seen another play like this later on in the game. He didn't get any opportunities. I felt like there was at least 2 situations in the game where Deshaun Watson avoided him, where there was, I don't want to say open players, but the potential was there for Watson to throw the ball to a guy who may have been able to break open near Kyle Hamilton, and he avoided him for good measure. You can't blame him, right? Zay Flowers yesterday put on a show. In hindsight, we would have clearly liked to get the ball to him more. First quarter here, 14-yard gain over the middle, 21 personnel. Ronnie Stanley with a huge hit at the end of it. Flowers is up top. I really like this formation when we use it. So far from my charting, we're 3 of 3 play action pass out of this. Under center, fullback tight end to the downside of the formation. Play action by Lamar. Normally you're getting Bateman running across here. And we've got 2 completions to him this year. Excuse me on that. Flowers is, for whatever reason, sitting this back down to the other side of the field. There is a lot of space here if the ball is maybe a half a second sooner. As it stands, there's still enough space once Lamar gets the ball to him. 14-yard gain, Zay Flowers. Big physical play at the end by Ronnie Stanley. At that point, we're still rolling offensively. Fast forward second quarter, I believe. Zay is up top. 16-yard catch here. I think he correctly sits this down. Him and Lamar, I think, make a read during this play. Bateman's going to bring his route vertical and then take it back towards the bottom left part of our screen. Zay is going to see the free safety on this deeper dig, kind of sitting in the middle of the field. So instead of running it into him or try to cross his face, Talking about this free safety right here. Kind of slows his route up. I think Lamar reads the exact same thing and adjusts this, basically cover 3. Similar to a route that he caught against the Lions early in the game. Maybe it was the Seahawks at that point. I think it was the Lions. Over the middle, field was reversed. We were going left to right on the screen. But a deep dig against cover 3. For the Lions, the free safety jumped and over by Andrews. In this case, the free safety was occupied by the potential vertical from Bateman. Third quarter, down at the bottom side here, 18-yard gain, middle of the field. Early third quarter, it's our first possession. Actually, this is left side. My apologies. 16 yards. Just too much space being given to him. And even when the Browns were closer to him and he caught the football, he was able to make people miss. It's not a bad baseball turn by the corner at all, but Zay, because of his agility and how great his feet are, he's able to take this back to the sideline and come back to the football. You can see the space that he catches with. Perfect timing by Lamar in terms of when to get rid of the football. In hindsight, we'd like to see him get the ball more often. Speed out to the boundary. Able to juke the corner for more yards after the catch. I wonder what the Ravens coaches see in film today and last night in terms of, oh man, we could have gotten Zay the ball there. Not meaning that Lamar wasn't looking at him, but or chose not to look at him, but plays that were there that the coaches could have called to maybe take advantage of his speed and ability to get himself open. 3rd and 7, where unfortunately we miss him on the deep shot late second quarter. We'd love to have this one back, and you can see the disappointment in Zay Flowers' reaction. Another situation where teams are bringing pressure on 3rd down to force Lamar to throw the football, not allow him the opportunity to scramble. Maybe we should have done some of those things against Deshaun Watson, but coverage-wise, maybe we didn't have confidence in our guys. I mean, if we don't have confidence going against the Browns wide receivers to play some of those coverages, I don't know what team we will. No disrespect to the Browns, but it's not like they have a super talented wide receiver and tight end core in terms of making plays downfield. Teams are choosing to play this coverage against us because we've missed too many of those shots, and there's another one. Brilliant play on a 3rd and 8 by Lamar and Zay. This will be the last Flowers play, and then we'll show you some Keaton Mitchell film. In the slot, it's man-free because 22 is shadowing Andrews, and we just run Flowers and OBJ across the field. So basically, not really double slants, but double over. Andrews is running the under, and it's just taking advantage of the man coverage that the Browns played a lot of. Lamar has an opportunity to throw the football from a clean platform, and we get the ball out into that space. It sure looks like when you're watching this, we could have done these things more often, but that's an oversimplification on my part. All right, let's look at another anomalous player that we have in terms of size and speed profile. This is against the Seahawks last week. 40-yard touchdown run at the left side. We just don't have too many players with the type of burst of Hamilton, Flowers, and Mitchell, and people are not wrong in saying that they would like to see Mitchell get the ball more on Sunday. If you get him the ball another 2, 3, 4 times, does he pop another one of these? At this point, it's hard to say that he wouldn't. At least maybe he doesn't pop another 39-yard touchdown or 40-yard touchdown or 60-yard run, but maybe he gets us another 12 or 14-yard gain that gets us out of trouble and takes some of the pressure off of Lamar and the offensive line and puts it back on the Browns defense. That speed element, we didn't seem to be able to overpower the Browns. That speed element that we had with Flowers and Mitchell, and then on the defensive side with Hamilton, but it's a different element with him, I think is notable, and I think in some ways requires a little bit of a shift in our coaching staff and some of the plays we call and the amount of times that certain guys are getting the football. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. Let me know if, first of all, it made sense, and second of all, if you agree with it. Mitchell, Flowers need to have the ball in their hands more. I love our 20 personnel grouping, to be honest with you. This is a brilliantly designed play. a lot of obfuscation here, or eye candy for the defense to look at, and I think is a great usage of Keaton Mitchell. It's a one-back play. Historically, the last 2 years, one-back stuff has been play action. You're getting Bateman across the field on the over, which has been his route. We talked about that a little bit a while ago. Aguilar on the hide concept out into the flats. It's a 20 personnel grouping, so Ricard is available to stay in and pass pro, help out the offensive line. Aguilar crossing behind the heels of the offensive line potentially could gather eye candy gather the eyes from some of these guys. You can see that two DBs have ran into each other. A lot of confusion. JOK is up top. He's lost connection to the running back. He's a very poor coverage linebacker. He did make 2 plays yesterday, but I feel like we could have exploited him more. And in this case, we're able to get him blocked up. Again, he's the guy that was responsible for Mitchell on another big play. These are guys that need to get the football more, number one. Number two, it requires some type of movement from our offensive staff and maybe even Coach Harbaugh in terms of understanding the talent that we have. Hamilton as a deep safety, I'm sure will be a fine football player. In my opinion, at the nickel, he's potentially devastating. You saw an example of that on the first play of the game. Keaton Mitchell, with the limited touches he's gotten in the past 2 weeks, has popped 3 big ones. From a mathematical standpoint, I got no problem if someone wants to say, what if we doubled his carries? I'm not sure that he's ready for doubling his carries. His pass pro is extremely poor at times. But there's no argument against the fact that he is our most those two right there on the screen are our most dangerous big play guys. OBJ did make a huge play on a 3rd down Sunday, but you guys let me know what you think of some of those thoughts. My real attempt here is to, first for myself, understand that we are, in some cases, succeeding drafting anomalous players that go against the grain. The big safety that other teams, for whatever reason, avoided. Maybe it was just 40 time at the draft. It certainly wasn't his college film, because Kyle Hamilton's college film was amazing and is still fun to watch, to be honest with you. Zay Flowers put together 4 amazing years at Boston College. The film couldn't have been the reason why he dropped to us. I think he was the 6th wide receiver taken. Maybe I'm wrong there. And then what could have been the rationale for Keaton Mitchell just going undrafted? And now, other than the running back from Miami, A-Chain, being the 2nd most explosive rookie running back in the NFL this year, by far, in terms of touchdowns per touch and yards per touch. Todd Monken has a lot of talent at his disposal. We've got wide receivers and tight ends and 2 other running backs that are talented that I haven't even talked about in this video. When you score 31 points, you can oftentimes reliably say, with our defense, we're going to win the game. I got no problem if that's someone's perspective. Having said that, Todd Monken has more offensive talent, more pure athletic talent at his disposal than possibly any Ravens offensive coordinator, maybe ever. I'm probably not remembering certain teams, but I feel like from a talent perspective, at the position player level, when you add Keaton Mitchell in with all the guys we've got, there's no excuse for Todd Monken not to have a more consistent offense on a possession-by-possession basis. There's a lot of people that want the football. These 2 guys, in games like we had on Sunday, looked like the best matchup advantages that we had. And that's coming from someone who thought up through week 6, Zay Flowers was kind of being force-fed the football in certain situations. You guys let me know what you think of my thoughts, not just about how those guys played, along with Kyle Hamilton, in Sunday's loss against the Browns, but also the fact that some of the draft picks that are succeeding the most, Mitchell being a UDFA, is the guys that have gone against the grain, against the profile that other teams let slip and fall into our hands. Appreciate you guys' time. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this somewhat positive look at Sunday's loss to the Browns, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.